and Brian Ross on prime time put me...
The congressional investigation. Oh, yeah, right. I know what it is. Now, you was mentioning your law firm, right? Now, your law firm, you had to hire a law firm while you were working for the FBI to protect you from the FBI.
That's right.
Now, who was paying for that law firm, and where was that money coming from?
It's coming out of my pocket.
Now, they weren't doing any of this pro bono or anything like that?
I don't know. I mean, people have to make a living. I know that they did a lot of work on that case, and it was a great financial burden on that law firm. But law firm of Kohn Colapinto, their whistleblowing law firm and the major whistleblowing law firm in the United States, at the time they were I don't know if you'd say as startups, but they were new in the area. Probably hadn't been doing whistleblowing law more than about 5-10 years. But I just stumbled on them. By the grace of God, they turned out to be the law firm, and they're 3-4 fearless people. They just go up against giants.
Yeah, it takes a lot of guts to go up against the FBI. Now, did they experience any kind of harassment or intimidation or anything like that coming down from the FBI?
Well, the FBI wouldn't harass them. First of all, the problem the FBI had was that they had no precedent. They didn't know how to handle this. There was no protocol, if you will. One of their own mid-level manager speaks out, and they don't know what to do. And then it happened so lightning fast. They believe very deeply in the American, the Constitution and the American ideal. So, as I said, I'm walking down the street, and Steve Cohn's telling me, well, we'll sue the President, the Attorney General, and the FBI Director, and the U.S. government, the U.S. Department of Justice, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And wait a minute, I just want the lab to work, But they ultimately, once I got out, they are associated with and part and parcel to the National Whistleblower Center. And we formed the Forensic Justice Project at the National Whistleblower Center to gather information about issues in forensic science and make it available for the people that are engaged in dialogues about it or in conversations about it.
Now, ultimately, you wound up suing the FBI. But what were the grounds of your lawsuit?
Well, let me see. I sued the President of the United States, so we sued Mr. Clinton to get them to actually implement them. We sued the Department of Justice and the Attorney General to get his response in his book, My FBI, is they didn't believe Fred Whitehurst then, and I don't believe him now, and that's his great loss. But that's what the lawsuits were about. To get the President to do his job, to force the Department of Justice and the FBI to do their jobs, to get the Department of Justice to allow us to find out who was hurt by this scam, and then to get the FBI to back off the harassment and back off the, I've got a right to speak about things that are wrong in our government. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Justice still don't believe that. They've instituted whistleblower protections that are a sham, but at least they've instituted something. If there's nothing to work on, you can't fix it.
Now, how did they calculate your damages at $1.25 million?
Oh, I don't know. Freedom is not free,
right?
And it cost, and I don't know. I don't know how they did that.
Really? Okay, amazing. Okay, could have been more than Too bad.
Well, I wasn't damaged to that. I spent quite a bit of money out of my wife's pocket and my pocket,
right.
And but okay, so what? This is my country. I am an American, and I refuse to bend down to tyrants, period. And so what costs money? I eat 3 times a day. I'm probably a little heavy. I got a home over my head. The rest of it is icing on the cake. And so, you probably feel the same way. This is my country. Yeah. You're not allowed to be a crook. I wouldn't put up with Hitler. I wouldn't put up with J. Edgar Hoover, frankly, And there's a few presidents I wouldn't put up with, but this is not a political conversation.
Hey, now, when they were coming after you and sending you for psych evaluations and stuff like that, were they doing that to your wife as well?
No, what they were doing to my wife was harassing her at her job place, and she was getting negative. She'd been an exceptional employee, and all of a sudden her performance appraisals went down, and they beat her up pretty badly.
It hurts more, when you see them attacking your family than it does when they're attacking you. Oh, boy. Okay, so now I know you're working with this whistleblower project again. Now, what is it called now?
People call to the Whistleblower Center from all areas. Yeah. A recent effort has been, believe it or not, they're slaughtering different kinds of animals, elephants, whatever, and the people that are trying to report it need protection. People that raise issues, that are of national importance, and we hear about them, but we just hear about them. We're not there for them when they actually are going through their battles. There was an FBI agent named Jane Turner who blew the whistle on crimes at the Ground Zero at the World Trade Center when it was taken down. She blew the whistle on crimes on Indian reservations, and they just wrapped her up, and that was the wrong person to mess with. Mm-hmm. And, there's been national security issues where the government's got more than one Snowden in it, if you will, and their response to when somebody says, I don't think what we're doing here is right, is to destroy those people, then they get Mr. Snowden. But having a whistleblower center, people can come forward and say, I think there's an issue here. It's illegal for people to do this. And it goes everywhere from people blowing the whistle on issues in places like Guantanamo Bay or in the military, overseas, or whatever, to, the door's open. And we have a national referral system that service that you come to, and there are attorneys that handle whistleblower protection laws, kind of legal issues. The nuclear industry has its share of whistleblowers, as does the Department of Labor. The list goes on and on and on.
In the last couple of minutes, what do you want to leave us with? It doesn't seem like you're a kind of guy that has any regrets.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Let me leave you with this, and I'll say it again. I am an American, and I refuse to bend to tyranny. And if the FBI represents tyranny, or the Department of Justice, or whatever, they are servants of the American people. And, that silly stuff we hear, give me freedom or give me death, give me freedom. Give me justice, give me fairness, give me a country that is what I think it is. And that's what I'll leave you with. Just like every one of your listeners, they are Americans. They have the right. This is our nation. The nation is not consumed by the Beltway. This is our nation. So I would leave you with that, sir.
Dr. Fred Whitehurst, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. If anybody needs a really good defense lawyer or an expert witness, just Google Dr. Fred Whitehurst in North Carolina, and I'm sure you'll find him. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good night.
Good night. Okay, well, there you go. Ex-FBI agent Dr. Fred Whitehurst worked on some really big cases. Interesting guy. You got to admit, the guy's been around a lot of stuff. And an attorney now over there in North Carolina, a defense attorney. Has this whistleblower project. Just look up Google Dr. Fred Whitehurst. It all comes up, or Frederic Whitehurst, and it all comes up. Okay.
Wildlife endangerment whistleblowers. We got people out there.
Dave McGowan. We lost Dave McGowan. Lost him to cancer. So we'll be discussing that a bit, and my take on that, and my opinion on the whole Dave McGowan situation. I love Dave McGowan. I was a big fan. Really respect his work, and we're going to miss him. Coming up tomorrow, I'm going to be interviewing that guy who is the correction officer in the O.J. Simpson prison. He was O.J. Simpson's prison guard, and he has some inside information he wants to tell us about how O.J.'s beefing down there with the Aryan Nation and all kind of stuff. I got some information on what O.J.'s doing up there, too, so I want to compare notes with him. Seems like a nice guy, so I'm going to talk to him about that. Got David Pilates coming up, who wrote the book Missing 411. He sent me a book, and I'm trying to schedule him for next week. As of right now, I don't have a guest for next week. I got some members section shows coming up ready to go. I'm going to be interviewing that family from Area 51, the Sheehan family. And I'm going to be interviewing that guy who was one of the Waco victims, was inside Branch Davidian compound when he got burned, tried to kill him, burn him alive, shooting at him. So we had all that going on. Don't forget, Opperman Report members section. Oh, no, wait a second. I got a whole another 10 minutes. I thought I had 2 minutes left. Oh, no, what did I do? Oh, brother. Oh, man, I'm going to shoot myself one day, I tell you. I got an hour and 10 minutes I got to fill. Oh, boy, I did it again. Because we had such a long day yesterday with Thanksgiving. Me and Vic did a Thanksgiving show. And I didn't have any notes for it. And Vic wasn't prepared either. We kind of just threw it together. It was kind of turned out to be hectic. Used up a lot of my talking points. So let's see, I got 11 minutes to kill before I get to my notes for the after show. One thing is I want to talk about is the member section. I got a big deal going on right now. As a matter of fact, I've been talking about this. How I'm going to be merging my digital forensics business with this other company in California. And when I mentioned it to him today, and this is a big shot. This guy's he trains people, he's worked with the military, and when I mentioned to him that I had Dr. Fred Whitehurst tonight, he was all excited. He was like, oh boy, how do you get these people? So I got a big project going on right now. And if all goes well, this show will be on about 20 stations in 30 days or 45 days. And we'll have a lot of funding to do the documentary films that I want to do, to help me hire a co-writer, to get some books out. I want to do a book about the John Lennon assassination. I want to do a book about the O.J. Simpson case, but I got no help over here. So we have some things I'm working on right now where I can get funding to fund all this. To get from here to there, okay, I need some quick money. Okay, so I need some sponsors. If you want to sponsor into the show, real quick this next couple of weeks would be a big help. And you'll get in on the ground floor because we're about to jump on all these stations. We're about to really, we're going to have 10 times the audience that we have right now. In the next month or two, okay? Plus, I'm working on something else that we're going to be getting a ton of publicity, both for my personal business and for the radio show. Big front page publicity, okay? There's a lot of stuff going on, but I need like traveling money, walking around money. I got to rent a car. Oh, by the way, to everybody who's interested in my situation taking on U.S. Bank, I defeated U.S. Bank, okay, and they gave in. And they waived the whole $120 overdraft fee that they were trying to scam me with. I would not tolerate it, which is a good lesson to people, is don't let these banks push you around, okay? I have my receipt in my hand. I know what it says. And they're trying to tell me that something they have in the computer in the background or trumps the receipt that I'm holding in my hand. That the receipt they give me is worthless, but then they're going to give me another receipt that says I owe $100. This one's good and this one isn't. Give me a break. You can't do that. So you just got to, you got to fight back when these people try and push you. Just like Dr. Fred Whitehurst was saying when he took on the FBI. I took on U.S. Bank, and I got him to waive my fees, so I'm going to stay with U.S. Bank for a while and keep this going here. So, but the big thing is the member section. We got to get some members or donations. You can donate to operatreport@gmail.com. If you like these kind of shows, we had big shows the past couple of weeks, guys. We had Robert Morrow. The Clinton War on Women. We had a guy from Russ Dizdar, Cult Investigations. We had Sarah Jane Woodall was back on. I did a show with Dr. Elliot Shin to support the free medical clinic. We had last week Billy Hayes from Midnight Express. We had May Pang, who was John Lennon's girlfriend. She was John Lennon and Yoko Ono's assistant. Then she was John Lennon's girlfriend. She was there when Phil Spector is shooting into the ceiling at this notorious recording session. And she comes on our show, and she comes right out and says, yeah, Yoko Ono is a witch, and she practices witchcraft. You know? But guys, there is those words did not come out of her mouth anywhere else in history other than this show.